Hello and welcome to 7ABC Wombat News. I'm Marcus Bell.
And I'm Belle Murray.
In Nambour today, students were asked about different study options. Drew Darings reports.
Is studying at TAFE better than university?
I chose TAFE because I like the practical aspect and the theoretical aspect, and I think university is quite theoretical, and I'm much more of a person that wants to be using my hands and really getting myself into it to see what it would be like in the industry.
I find TAFE sort of skims across the theory sort of side a little bit, but I think more the practical skills are here, so I definitely think both have a good and bad.
Certain courses seem to suit the separate education systems, and most of the students seemed happy with what they chose to study at TAFE.
I think TAFE is a really good step into the industry because at university you're kind of not learning those practical skills, where with TAFE you can just jump straight into it and then you learn more when you're working in the industry as well.
Well, TAFE's more for trades and uni's more for knowledge, so I guess it depends on where you're focused. For me, I like to be hands-on, so I go TAFE.
Thanks, Drew. Controversy has arisen at the local Nambour TAFE over limited parking due to new construction projects. Marcus Bell reports.
Due to recent construction, students have said that car parking spaces are limited. The students are also saying that they prefer that more parking instead of buildings was needed at Nambour TAFE. Students were interviewed this morning to get their point of view.
We definitely don't need any more buildings. We need more car parks for the students and all the people that come here. So get rid of the buildings.
D Block is the building that students have targeted as the one that needs to go.
There's definitely not enough car parks up there. I've tried to park up there previously and I don't know, it's a bit like musical chairs. Yeah, I think they do need more parks up there.
Yeah, it took me like 10 minutes because the car park was packed because people are lazy.
She was really good this morning. I got in here at around 8 o'clock, running a little bit late, and it was actually pretty decent. About half full, I'd say. I just left for lunch, gave up my park, and my exact park was right there. So I don't think it's a problem today.
Despite the opinions of some, students and teachers are still forced to park illegally. Marcus Bell, Wombat News. With COVID restrictions being lifted, many students have returned to classrooms. Belle Murray reports.
We all know the COVID pandemic has affected everyone's day-to-day lives, but what about the teachers and students of the Nambour TAFE? The students stated that they were not happy about their classes being online.
So that was really difficult. So even if we could share our screens and whatever, things that we were working on at home, it just wasn't the same thing. I did find that very challenging.
I don't think I'm disciplined enough to work from home as well, so being in the classroom made it a lot easier.
Some, however, felt differently.
I did enjoy the break. It was a bit of a rest, so it was good. I loved online study. Rather than doing afternoon study, I probably saved 2 hours of driving.
The staff, however, seemed to handle the situation with confidence.
With teaching online, I was mainly using Zoom, and I found that the students stayed there longer.
I think actually they've been really great, especially I think for us international students.
Overall, the TAFE have been really good in making sure the place is clean and health is a priority, so it's a good place to work.
Belle Murray reporting, 7 News. Thank you. With the reopening of TAFE campuses, safety protocols have now been put in place. Marcus Bell reports.
2020 has presented many challenges dealing with the COVID-19 virus in Australia. Hand sanitising stations have been introduced at all campuses across Queensland, with staff and students being urged to use these facilities generously.
Well, here at TAFE, I do know at TAFE they come around at least 2 or 3 times a day. So you've got your hand sanitisers, you've got your desk cleaning, all the amenities are cleaned. And then if you go shopping, I know that every shop that I go to, there's hand sanitisers everywhere. So, I don't really have a problem.
Social distancing is being practiced and signage has been placed throughout Queensland campuses reminding people of the 1.5 distancing rule. The impact of COVID varies amongst all age groups.
I personally probably won't be much affected by it apart from social life, but I feel sorry for the business owners and whatnot.
The Nambour TAFE Cafe Grays has reopened and protocols have been put in place to protect everyone. TAFE Queensland have introduced measures to combat the spread of the virus. staff and students have had to adapt by working from home for the first part of 2020.
Yes, I have worked at home, but I did miss the camaraderie of the staff, and and Nambour TAFE's lovely. It's full of nature and animals, and I love coming here.
Marcus Bell, Wombat News. Opinions differ over proposed safety measures which may be put in place due to COVID-19 restrictions. Drew Darings reports.
In light of recent events, wearing a mask may become mandatory in Queensland. But how would the people react if this were to happen?
No. I know my immune system is super strong. I'm young and I'm healthy. You know, we are born perfect. I think if people personally are worried about it, use masks or isolate themselves or whatever they're stressed about.
Kind of annoying at times, and you can't like get the full breeze and inhale it all because you're kind of like in a sweaty mask. If you're healthy and you're comfortable in your health, then I don't think they're necessary.
Although most seemed reluctant, others felt differently.
Yeah, I would, for the sake of keeping peace. You know, instead of causing an uproar for really nothing, not raising any flags, is anyone just playing it cool?
I don't really want to, because I feel like I'm confident in my health, and I understand that there's other people that are vulnerable and they need it, but for me, I don't think it's necessary.
Clearly, wearing a mask is a very controversial topic right now, and it looks like problems will arise if they ever become mandatory.
Thank you so much, Drew. With the strict border controls now in place for both New South Wales and Victoria, discussions are now being held whether Queensland should quickly follow suit. Marcus Bell reports.
We were speaking to students from Nambour TAFE this morning about whether or not Queensland borders should be shut down whilst COVID is rampant in Queensland.
Not scared, but recognise that it is a distinct possibility.
Earlier today we asked the question, how important is tourism to Queensland's economy? At the moment, Queensland borders remain open. However, this could change if infection numbers continue to grow in southern states.
Other states would definitely help. You know, from different times of the years, not everyone could go to the Gold Coast every weekend, so, you know, different times.
That depends on the value you place on the tourism market economically. Almost certainly wouldn't be able to make up the value of it, and your position on that probably depends to a large extent. Are you directly employed or in a related area of the tourism industry? If you are, obviously you're going to be saying yes a lot more loudly.
Marcus Bell, Wombat News. And now for tonight's weather, over to Drew Darings.
Thank you, Marcus and Bell. This week's weather forecast will be rain, and more rain. I've been Drew Darings, and this has been the weather. Good night.
Thanks for your company this evening. I'm Marcus Bell.
And I'm Belle Murray.
Wombat News and the crew will join you all tomorrow night. Take care.